me it's some dust.
Yeah, because I'm in the garage.
Oh, yes. Hello, this is Tailinh Agoyo on Rise and Thrive, Indigenous Art, Culture, and Joyful Acts of Resistance. And today I'm super excited because I am here with Danielle Whittaker, who is an actress, voiceover artist, writer, mom, entrepreneur, among other things. Danielle, thank you for being here on Rise and
Thanks
Thrive.
for having me. Thanks for having me. I'm excited too.
I know.
Yeah. Cool.
So Danielle and I actually met many years ago for CBS. There was a time when the studios were doing these types of, what was it called, Danielle? Like a showcase?
I just remember what it's called. It's a diversity showcase.
It was a
But
diversity
it was for
showcase
Indigenous actors.
focused on Indigenous actors.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we met because we had auditioned for it and were chosen as the participants of the showcase. We didn't work together though. We had
Right. We each got partners, right? You had a guy.
He was
right?
he wasn't a nice person.
Weird.
Yeah. and yeah, how was your partner?
I'm now blanking on who even my partner was.
Oh, so not very exciting partner.
Yeah, there were a few years after where I think we all knew each other. Oh, but that's how I know Elena Finney too, who I still audition with. And,
I don't know who Elena is.
Yeah, she's done a lot of work at the Autry. She's really
okay,
awesome.
That's great. That's so nice that you've kept the relationships for all this time.
I know. Well, and then the other way that we stayed contact was that we both were temping. You had more of like a real job.
Mine was like a permanent
design. Yeah, you were doing the graphic design at Monitor Group, and I was just a random temp. But was that before the thing or after? I don't even know.
It was after, because I remember you being at the front desk when I came into work one day. I was like, what's going on?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All the times I've been the random front desk.
You were there for a while though. It was really nice, actually.
Well, that was one of my favorite.
It was fun. That was a fun place to work.
Well, it wasn't really about the work. It was about the snacks. That
and the snacks.
kitchen was so tricked out. I could not. And and that view of the ocean, that was an insane office.
It was. We were all very lucky to work there. Yeah. And some great people too.
True.
Yeah. So, we did that showcase, and it was during a time acting is very different now. It feels like, or what at least I'm seeing, although I'm in Philadelphia, so the work is very different here. But I'd really love to explore with you, what was that? Was it 20 years ago? It was about 20 years ago, right?
Ish.
I think so.
I don't think it's yet 20.
It was before I was married.
Yeah, so it's got to be, but it's got to be 17 or 18. It was a while ago.
Yeah, so
the casting directors that did it are not even working anymore.
Really interesting.
Remember, she was really famous, Fern.
Yes.
Somebody.
But there was a big. Well, we don't need to get into that. There was some scandal or something with CBS, and he was involved in that. Yeah. Anyway, so the studios were trying to, or at least showing that they were making an effort by having these types of showcases. So long ago. But I was disappointed by. I was like, I walked away from that feeling like, is it all for show? Because we only got one audition from that. And we all auditioned for that same part. It was like one line, nothing came of it. It was like all these casting directors showed up, had great food and drinks, and watched us and were like, cute. And nothing came out of it. And so I just thought that was so interesting. What was your impression?
Yeah, if I'm thinking back on it, it seemed like such an incredible opportunity. And I would hope that for now, if they're still, I feel like I still see them doing it. And I've sometimes thought, oh, should I just try to do one again, I would hope that they turn it more into a mentorship program. I mean, I tried to stay in contact with that director because he was really an incredible playwright. course, now I am blanking on his name, but I did email him for several years after.
Uh-huh.
Should have studied this stuff. But yeah, I think it would have been better to do like a mentorship program to have us like actually do something for a longer period of time. But I understand they were kind of checking the boxes, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
like it was a start, but it's so interesting how I mean, still, I don't know if you saw, I recently posted. So interesting. It's after you already, asked me to do the show. I actually got an audition for
Oh.
a part playing a Native American. It's
Oh.
animated and singing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is my dream, and it
Mm-hmm.
just makes me realize how much representation speaks to your heart, and especially as an actor. Like when I was
Yes.
watching Kamala last night and just thinking about my friends, I actually have like at least 2 or 3 friends who are actually Indian and Black.
Yeah.
And they're just
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't believe I
Yeah.
can see myself in the vice president
Right.
position. And so in that way, I was so excited to get that one audition, but I've also felt like, it's tough. There's never, first of all, there's never been a part that I auditioned for that's Potawatomi.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
Right.
tribally specific,
Yeah.
nation
Right.
specific,
Yeah.
let alone how many Native American parks, you
Mm.
know, it's like, once every 10 years or whatever. And I
Right.
don't look traditionally, so there's just a lot of issues there.
I mean, yeah, and that's something that's so interesting is that whole, we were just talking with another actress, and she was saying like she doesn't. A lot of people don't look traditionally what casting directors expect, right? Or as far as being Native, and Native people tend to have to walk in and have to deal with identity politics in the room when you're trying to focus on the work, you're trying to focus on being, doing a good job. And all of a sudden you're walking in, they're like, you don't look Native, or something's wrong, your hair is not
Yeah,
long enough, it's not straight enough, and all these issues
right,
where like
right.
you're not like other white actresses where you can just walk in and they're like, oh, okay, do your job. And it's
Right.
layer, it's like so many more layers to it.
So many layers. And I mean, as an artist, it's really easy to get imposter syndrome anyway. But when you have like imposter syndrome within your own ethnicity,
Mm-hmm.
and just, I mean, it's true within the community. I mean, blood quantum levels and that stuff. So it's a tough situation. Like I felt like it's a complicated
Yeah.
one to navigate for sure.
It definitely is. I think it's enough to navigate it that with our own families and communities, but then to have to do it in a space with people who have no understanding of the culture and them telling you what things should be like, it's very, like, I always found that to be very frustrating. But I think we've moved on from that in a lot of ways. I mean, I know there are still issues, but it seems like you've broken into the space doing commercials and doing voiceover work where you're what they call is like ethnically ambiguous, or
Yeah.
and people say, you could play anything, right? Or any kind of role. And so how do you feel about that? Do you feel like really, do you feel good about that? Do you feel, I mean, what is your general approach?
Um, I feel like, I've done a lot of actually self work in the last few years. And I mean, I think some of that has been around having been an actor and having to like really like look at yourself and be rejected a lot and question. And I feel like I am just the only me that's me, and I'm
Yes.
just coming in and then like
Right.
I just try to remind myself that over and over again,
Yeah.
because so many times I've been like, oh, I'm such and such age, so and so was this age and they made it then, and like I've
Hmm.
completely blown out of the water my idea of like made it or any of that stuff, because I'm really I'm really happy with the work that I do. I'm still striving for different projects and still trying to just get inspired by other people's projects rather than tell myself that it's because of me or something, because I think for a lot of years I was almost like resentful of being ethnically ambiguous, because I felt like, well, but I'm not in one of the ones that is being asked for a lot of the time, and everybody would say like, oh, isn't that the greatest thing that you're ethnically
Yeah,
ambiguous?
people say that all the time.
They love to say it, and it's totally not people who are in the business. They just think it sounds great, but
Right,
it's really not. Like, you want specific, you want
right.
specificity. That's what's interesting. Like, what is your
Mhm.
experience as such and such? And so
Yes.
I've just tried to be like, to realize I just know that I mean, I'm the only me, like I said, and I'm trying to
Mhm.
create my own stuff out of that. And so trying to take away the resentment. It's like, yeah, it's still mostly, there's still the normative idea. The white mom is going to be like most of the stuff. And then sometimes it's going to say, but it's the needle is pushing way
Yeah,
further the other way. But
it
then you
seems like
feel like,
it.
I'm like, oh, but I'm too light brown. I mean, so you can't, I mean, what am I going to do? Spend time with that? So I feel good with
You're
it.
right.
I feel
You're
like,
right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Just you have what you have. You're extraordinarily talented, and your resume is extensive, and you've studied so much. I mean, you really do. You really are so dedicated and passionate about your craft, and it's amazing to see. And like how you, like looking from the outside, because you and I, we see each other on social media, but I haven't seen you in 20 years. And just looking from the outside, it, you talk about success, you seem wildly successful, right?
oh,
And you seem like you're working and you're out there and you're doing things. And it's very impressive, right? And then it's interesting to hear. And I think we all kind of have that feeling like we don't really see ourselves. Um, but I loved looking at your resume, and you had just so much stuff going on there, but really looking at your studies. And that to me is just so, it's just, I just have so much respect for you in that way. That even when the work is not, work ebbs and flows, and even when the work's not there, you're always just working toward becoming a better actor or writer, or whatever it is you're studying.
oh, thank you. I needed that. I'm gonna just take that little clip and play it in my head when I'm feeling low. Um, I I do love learning and being in class. Like, I
Yeah.
just took this like, so it was like it was called The Path, and it was like, there were actually ended up being 20 of us, artists, writers, actors, all doing this thing of like navigating your creative life within COVID. She's
Wow.
done it for years, this woman Betsy Capes in New York City. She actually is the coach who helped the Broad City girls. That's what got me. Once I saw that, I was like, wait, let me read everything about her. Like, I want to know what did they do? How did they do it? And she's just awesome. And why am I bringing this up? Because I just love being in class, man. I just love it. I am just like I mean, I'm just like the dork in the front, and I just will never not be in the
So
front
great.
row, and like
Mhm.
taking all the notes and doing all the homework. And it just really helps me to be within that structure. And I just sort of, I guruize all my teachers. Like, I just like love them. So I guess that's why I don't even, it's just, yeah, this is fun. I like your show.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk about. So when I met you, you were also doing comedy, and a joke always sticks out in my head, but I don't remember the whole joke. But it was something about being Potawatomi.
Oh,
I know, and I can't remember the joke, but I remember you like delivering it to me once, and I was just like, "That is so awesome." Do you remember it? I know I'm
no,
taking you all the way back before kids. We can't
no,
remember
but I
anything back
should, because I
then.
had it memorized. It was like, it should be imprinted on my brain from years ago.
It was
Yeah.
like something like, "I know you're thinking a
Oh,
Potawatomi comedian," or something like that.
oh yeah. I know. Yeah, it was just a punchline. Like, all these Potawatomi Indians that you've been watching in comedy lately,
Yeah,
or
something
something.
like that.
It was
Yeah,
along
it
those
was
lines.
funny.
Oh, I need to bring that back. That was a good one. We can rewrite it. Gosh, I need to find like old computers to know what that was, or look at old
Right?
tapes.
Yeah, old
Man,
tapes. I was just going through YouTube because, before all this, we had those films that they would give us on big tapes that you can't find a machine to play. Like I have tons of those. And
Yes.
I was on YouTube with my son looking up old movies. And some people have posted movies on YouTube.
I know, thank goodness.
But
Who are these people too?
I don't know.
They
They're
post my
usually, like,
commercials. I love
they?
them.
They're in
Yes,
Europe and Russia. I have them in they're like have me speaking Russian and stuff. It's hilarious. Yeah, thank goodness though, because it's so different now as an actor because everything's accessible. But back
So
then,
easy.
you don't have. Yeah, it's hard to have archives. What was my point?
You were saying you said my joke. You were asking about comedy.
Your joke. Yeah, so that would have been. You can't just get on Instagram and look for it.
No,
Right.
but now you got to be in my bonnet. I want to remember that stuff because that was fun. I mean, it's funny with stand up. I that is like a regret I a little bit have. I'll tell you why I stopped. I do not like working at night.
Okay.
That is like, and maybe this is just the joke that I tell. I just found it hilarious. I'm not sure if it is hilarious, but I mean, literally
about not working at night. It's funny.
It's ridiculous to me. Like,
well, no, that's fair.
But it was a good. I mean, it was going well, and it was just like that's not my biorhythm or something. Yeah. But I guess I tried to be like a daytime. That's why I'm like trying to make my my little daytime talk show.
Yeah, tell me about your talk show. It's going to be called Danielle All Over.
Yeah, although I thought of a new name to do this. I thought of a new name in the middle of the night. No, but I can't remember it. But it seemed great in the middle of the night. So we'll have to toggle with that. But I've been tooling with that name for a while. It's going to be me interviewing friends, and then they have a surprise guest that is like a good friend of theirs, but that I don't know, that's going to be a surprise. And we have little talent show bits and musical improv bits, and I have like a mini monologue at the top, and it's like going to be about deep female friendships and sort of like how we got to where we are.
I love that. That sounds amazing.
I'm excited. Yeah,
I'm excited too.
I mean, I've really been saying that one. I've been really saying I'm going to do for a crazy long time.
Yeah. Well, now's a really great time to launch that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just that's the thing is that I realized that when I did that life coaching course, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing, like, I want this so bad. Like, it made me start to cry to think about how much I wanted to do and complete this project, and to be like writing my own stuff and actually producing it and taking it to fruition. Like, I was like, I can't not do it anymore. It's like hurting my heart to not do it.
You have to do it. I mean, you are so multi-talented in so many areas. Like it's just, and then you make your own space, and that's that.
Yeah,
it'll take off. I mean, you have to do it. Here I am. I'm like, you have to.
No, I mean, I needed this because I've been in a little bit of a slower. You know what happened? I was so motivated over the summer. We went on vacation, which was great, and I came back, can't do anything. I'm like, that was great. I escaped the world, and I want to stay there.
You got to give yourself a minute, because it's true. When you come back from vacation in normal times, it's hard. But this is COVID times, and everything's upside down. It's horrible. It's horrible. I can't.
Do you know what? I didn't even realize till yesterday. Today's the first day of totally on instructional learning of the online school. So my two kids are like,
are they on school? Oh
no. It's
are you okay?
My husband's there. Yeah,
okay.
My husband's there. My husband's furloughed. So yay, he can do it.
It worked out. Wow. So how is that? I mean, we're gonna go to break. When we come back, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how the girls are doing in online school and how you're handling the COVID. And then I want to talk about some of your work. Like, the ones that, I don't know everything because we're in different coasts, so I don't see everything that you do. But like when you did that Old Navy commercial, so fun. And there's so many ways that I see where you're able to express yourself and your personality. Where I always felt with me, I was always had parts where I was just like, oh, the one who was my father, and I was just like the wife or the princess daughter, just like these
Mhm.
really stereotypical roles, and not, I just wanted to be like, it's me, you know. And I see that in your work, and I just so admire it, and I'm so like happy to see you shine in that way. It's really nice to see a native person to be able to shine in that way, because the opportunities are so few. So when we come back, I want to talk about all that. and
Okay.
and yeah, I'm excited. So this is Rise and Thrive, Indigenous Arts, Culture, and Joyful Acts of Resistance on Usula Media. We'll be back soon with Danielle Whittaker.
I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. And even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, Maria, and she convinced me to continue my education. Just never judges. She's a true role model.
From the depths of my heart, I thank you, Maria, for being a friend and a beautiful person. No one receives a diploma alone, and I'm honored to share this moment with you. Thank you.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hello, this is Tailin. We're back on Rise and Thrive with Danielle Whittaker. When we left, I was just talking about how I love Danielle's work. When I see there's maybe I'll let you describe it, because you know better than me. Well, just for example, like the Old Navy spot, or in the Microsoft, was it Microsoft, which was most recent that you sent me images of, where
Yeah.
you're just able to express yourself, and you're there are different parts of you that are showing, and you have a personality, and it's just so different than what I've been able to do in my acting. And so I always really love watching you. And like the Old Navy spot, I just watched over when it came out. Maybe it was 15 years ago or something, but I just was so like, I can't even explain it. It was so heartening just to see. So let me set it up. Like Danielle's like walking down, and there's all these Old Navy people, and you're just kind of like screaming these words and being kind of funny but adorable. And you explain it better. You'll remember it better than me.
Well, I do remember it so well, and I was actually trying to write a story about it recently because it was my first huge job, and what a huge job it was. Because, and for a theater actor, it was my first like on camera, full on professional. And basically, I'm in a history class, and so because of that, I got to be with a whole bunch of extras, almost in like theater seating. But I'm in the theater seats because I'm a student too, and there's a teacher, and he's saying, "Please refer to your history textbooks," and I'm like, no way! History? I love history. Something happens, then later something else happens.
Yeah.
So sequential. You want me to do the
Yes.
rest? Thank you, first guy, for writing history down. I mean, I have not aged a bit. No, but that sounds the same to me. But I guess
Yeah.
I just like that was such a I can't remember my stand-up, but I can remember that one because was such a fun first job. All the people in the extras, I was gonna say all the people in the audience, they like cheered for me and clapped, like because they didn't know when you come in as a commercial extra, which I learned later, you don't know like anything, and so like you're sitting there, you're like, yeah, I'm getting paid my $300, and like suddenly somebody comes up and does like a crazy like thing. You're like, oh, this is gonna kind of be fun. I'm sitting for my job, and this person's doing crazy stuff. So yeah, that was the dream first job for me because I always felt like I would be a great commercial actress in the 80s where you just get to be like so big and so excited and cheesy about everything because that's my favorite thing. Like I am trying, and I still now book, obviously or not obviously, but all the stuff of reality TV made everything be like documentary style, and everything is so real and yeah, I'm your mom. I don't know. I mean, it's not always so low, but it's just a little bit so realistic. And I'm just kind of like a big personality, and I like being that way. Just like kind of how you're feeling in your heart. Like you just wanted to be like, ah!
Yeah, yeah.
So that was so fun because it was just like very me, and it was like, oh my gosh, there are parts that I can do where I can just like show and do. And I try to remember that when I'm like doubting what I did in an audition. Like, I'm like, I wish they would just tell me because I could just do what they could do. But then it's almost like going back to what I said about I'm the only me. We can only be the best of what we are. Like, we need to make a strong choice, bring that to the part, and do the best you. Because really, like, what your instinct is, you're going to probably do it the best. I don't know. I just got into auditioning psyche. I mean, it's a complicated thing being an actor, right?
You should teach a class. Oh, have you taught a class?
You know, I was teaching improv to kids during quarantine.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, for like the first 8 weeks. And then the problem was, and like probably I'll have it, I get vocal injuries very easily. And I was going crazy like I just did for you, because get me an audience and I will scream and yell and sing. And I was like, I can't do this because, you know, I can't work. And so I kind of took a break, and it was taking a lot. So I would like to go back to it at some point. But I also, it made me realize like how much I love doing a weekly show. And then that's what brought me to being like, you need to just do your weekly show. And I was putting it on my calendar every week, like, just do your weekly show. And then I had to go back in my head and be like, well, you need to plan it first.
No, you don't. What I'm not, that's not true. You probably need to plan some of it. But I'm saying like just jump in and develop it as it goes. That's part of the fun.
True. I know. Well, that's why I was like, Tailing's just doing it.
Just do it. Right. I mean, you know, honestly, with Seeds, with a lot of other things I've worked on, I just do it and then pick up the pieces later. And I'm scrambling to pick up the pieces now. It's not always comfortable, but I just do that's my personality. Like I jump in and then I figure it out. Because I always just feel like I have this, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I have this thing like, oh my God, I'm not promised tomorrow. Life's too short. I need to do it now. Like it's not actually probably not very healthy, but everything feels like an emergency to me, which is
I think that's good though. And I think that sometimes I have that, and I have thought that a lot of times, but it's funny. Like I think that, but then I circle back around. What I'm trying to undo within myself is that what I do is I do that in my head, and then I convince myself back out of it. Because I'm like, wait a second. And because I've been about to do this for years and years, you know, probably maybe 12 probably like 12 to 14 years. I've been like, come on, just do it already. Like, and it used to be called Everybody's Sister, or, you know, with Dan and whatever. And, I just convinced myself out of it. Part of it was like a manager was like, well, what are you going to like add to it or whatever? Like, you know, so then I was pissed off about that, but then I still didn't just do it. At that point, I was just trying to just do it. And then he said that, but now what's funny is now I am writing it and making it more like something that I really want to do. Because I guess what I took it to is that I'm going to pay like a guy to come and do all the parts. But
what do you mean all the parts?
Okay, yeah, not really. I'm gonna write it all and be ready, and I'm the talent. But he's gonna shoot it.
Oh, okay.
And he's gonna shoot it and light it and edit it.
Okay.
I think so. I'm gonna pay money. So I'm like,
so now you have to raise money.
Well, no, it's not gonna be that much. I mean, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be like $1,000, maybe.
Yeah.
If I do it all in one day.
You can raise the money.
Yeah.